Good morning. My name is John Von Cannon, and let me start you off with a potentially controversial statement. Failure's good. Now, you may be wondering why I would say something like that, but I ask you to hold on to that thought for just a few minutes. According to phrases.org, which was accessed on August 21st, 2022, the origin of the idea that the mother of invention is necessity stems back to Plato around 2,500 years ago, whose phrasing was roughly translated as so. But necessity is just a softer way of saying things aren't really working the way that they should. So basically, failure breeds innovation. Now, believe you me, I've had my fair share of failures. I'm 22, returning to community college for a third time, and all I have to show for it is a lousy gen ed degree. However, I'm of the firm belief that without those failures that I endured on my quest for education, I wouldn't be the person that I am today, and I would have missed out on a lot of valuable life experiences had I just made it my first time round. Before we get into that can of worms, I'd like to share with you one of Aesop's fables, a similar tale of failure about a crow and a pitcher. Then we can go over my tale, which is pretty similar if you exchange the thirst for water with a thirst for success. So let's get into the tale of the crow and the pitcher. So I'll catch up everyone who was falling asleep in history class with a brief synopsis that I concocted after skimming on fablesofAesop.com on the 21st of August, 2022. Aesop's fable tells of a persistent and thirsty crow who, despite being foiled by the tall pitcher's inaccessibility, manages to persevere and reclaim the liquid riches inside. He initially tries to reach in for a sip, but couldn't quite reach the water. Then he cracks an ingenious plan to drop small rocks one by one into the pitcher to raise the water level, and boom, he snags himself a big old gulp. To bring it back around, this crow, in response to his failure, managed to overcome his previous attempt and attain the water that was trapped inside the pitcher. So, now that we've determined that a bird can do it, let's see how I fared. Rounding off my high school years, I had already figured my ideal dream school. I had done what my advisor asked of me, kept my GPA high, and everything else was sitting pretty, so that meant I was too, right? Well, not quite. My advisor had actually been very lazy, and because of this, my semester off was now packed with 7 classes. I was only able to graduate with the promise of taking 2 additional classes at a community college, and now that I was a community college student, they were prerequisites in order to transfer. To top all that off, my GPA wasn't as high as it used to be, and I was denied my dream school 3 times. Now I know what you're thinking. That doesn't have a happy ending. How's that like the fable? Well, in taking longer to prepare, I ended up getting a couple jobs, building up references that will help me down the road. I made a lot of friends here at the college and found a hidden passion for graphic design. Had I not failed in my original goal, I would not have found all my successes that led me to where I am today. Plus, I've got a 4th application in currently, so wish me luck. While my situation differs quite a bit from the perils of dehydration, both the crow and I have learned a similar lesson. Aesop's overall moral is that regardless of what situation you find yourself in, don't let failure get in the way of achieving your goals. So, as a crow, on my journey to find some way to quench my thirst for the future, I have no intention of letting failure deter my actions, and neither should you. Thank you. Are there any questions?